that's actually what your work is all about. That's what my work is all about. It is about that journey to how we got free to be ourselves. It's funny because I kind of like my hair today. And because I had COVID, I couldn't get my hair done. And I'm like, wow, I actually really like how it looks today. And it's just me, like, after being sick for a while. It looks fine. But I used to have all this fear about my hair, and I was convinced that it made me look white trash. And no matter what I did, and I would go to these really expensive stylists and get perms and haircuts and hair color and all this, and change it and change it and change it. And I just kept thinking, I look white trash, and no matter what I do, I'm never going to get ahead in life because it's just like my hair. And I try to tell people, be like, well, I can't even go for that job. And they'd say, why? I go, obviously, and they'd be like, what? I don't even know what you're pointing at. And it just wasn't even a thing, but it was just a way that I had kind of neurotically attached to some shame about where I'm from. And it was really holding me back, and it went away.
It's so funny you say that. I had the same shame, well, different, but same after 9/11. I was so ashamed that I looked Arab in airports. I felt like I'm disgusting. Like there's something fundamentally wrong with me, that I look like something that people are scared of. So it was, and it stayed in my brain for such a long time that I would also be just nervous every time I walk up to any police or security person. And something changed in the last couple of years that I don't even think about it anymore. And it's just stopped being an issue. Like I find myself now looking more exotic than like Arabic. You know what I mean? Like it changes. These are all just nonsense ideas that we have about what we are and what it means.
Yeah. And so what's interesting is, like, I know what caused you to get that, like you didn't do that to yourself, but then it got internalized.
Exactly.
And same thing, like I grew up really poor because of my family's alcohol and drug addiction problems. And so that wasn't my fault, but I ended up internalizing it. And it ended up, I don't know, it probably ends up driving us to act the way we fear that we are, it just
exactly.
becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, now I'm a shady character and I'm trashy or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's funny how it's an old idea, and it's not really easy. Like people can try to rationalize with you all you want, but it was the line by line just writing that eventually just one day it was like climbing up a mountain, and I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot to have that. Like I have other stuff now, but I think I have less than some people. Like for any woman my age, there's going to be stuff about age, weight, wrinkles, and all that. And then it comes down on me and it becomes so heavy and burdensome. And I think, how could I even think of making a YouTube video? What an idiot I am. And then I'm just like back at it and I forget about it and I make videos. And
I remember your video. It was a Q&A. I remember the date because it was my birthday. It was November 6th, the Q&A that you posted. I had it in the background. I was cooking. You spoke so beautifully about this worry about how you look. And it's so familiar. Sometimes I make a decision like today I'm not feeling like I look good, but it's like almost fuck it. It doesn't matter what I think I look like. I'm just going to go on camera and I'm going to I'm going to make the crazy, ugly faces that I want to make. And it doesn't matter. I was like, wow, you also feel that way. It's great.
Well, it's, I think I shared this with you, Old World Grandma, my secret Instagram account.
Yes.
That's what I did. I had so much fear about looking old and fat and all that stuff. So I just looked as old and fat as I could. And what the thought was is that I saw myself on YouTube and I was like, oh, I look like my grandma. I was like, I look like an old world grandma. And the way she would wear like these horrible glasses and these heavy coats and these hairdo and the scarf over it and everything. And that was her dressed up. And I was like, I look just like that. So I just went ahead and did that. I got this wig and I wear this jacket and I wear all these towels like stuffed into my dress to be extra fat. And it was so freeing for me. And I just put videos out there like that. It's like, fuck it.
Exactly.
This is what you get. And really all I have as value is what I am and what I have to say about that. So you just have to be that. So I get these comments on YouTube sometimes. Some people say, you're the mom I always wish I had. And I think, oh, that's nice. And then some people go, you're the grandma I wish I had. And I'm like, well, hold on.
Way too much. Yeah.
Yeah. If I were a very young mother, okay.
Yeah, it's funny now when I visit Dubai, like my cousins who used to be like, now to them, I'm like a 40-something-year-old man, and I'm like, huh? Oh, I guess I am. Because you, in your mind, you always think
I
you're
know.
younger, or yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah. We joke.
nice. There's something beautiful about owning what you are, as cliched as it sounds. You become
Yeah.
confident and attractive, and yeah,
Nothing you it's the only thing that's attractive is people. That's what I love in other people is people who are just totally cool with themselves. I was going to make a documentary once on how people get free of what other people think of them, and and do great things. And I started interviewing people for it, and I just never made the documentary because I got the same answer like 3 times. It was like, oh, I don't know, I just don't care what other people think about me. There was no story there. I was
no
like,
problem.
oh, that's the answer. Just don't think about what other people think of you. Got it. We'll have to make it about people like us sometime. How did you
Yeah,
get to that point? How did you get to that point? But I guess that's that's actually what your work is all about. That's what my work is all about. It is about that journey to how we got free to be ourselves,
yeah.
how we let that shine out and quit blocking it and trying to conform in some people who are, oh, it's just so sad. People who are still at that stage where they're trying to be really quiet so no one notices that they're different.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, yeah, you do recognize once you start to get free of it, you do recognize it in other people, right?
Yeah.
But I think that for me, at least personally, the challenge is not to, because my trap is to fix other people. That's my delusion. So on this trip with my family, it was so freeing that I felt a bit like I don't, not only do I not need to do that, but that it's a little bit arrogant to think that it's my job to fix someone or tell someone what they need to
Yeah.
do.
If you think about the people who were I remember you saying this about your dad. Your dad accepted you.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
And what an important thing that was for you. So the people who they don't just accept you, they get you. They know who they're accepting. Like that's really powerful to just sort of say, I see who you are and I accept it and I'm not going to change it. I find that really hard. I have sons who are right now 19 and 22, and they are so cool. I'm so proud of them, but I want to get in there all the time, and be like, did you,
Yeah, I mean, that's my
and
biggest fear about becoming a parent is how do
yeah,
you resist that urge to, yeah, get in
yeah,
there and constantly
yeah.
do that, yeah, not do that.
Well, you have to do it like that's all you do at the beginning, and then there's this natural progression where you separate from each other, and it's really lovely. What I love about going through it, like awake and healed, and my kids do use these techniques too, which is amazing. And so my older son and I most days will sit and he's staying here right now, and I'll just be like, have you meditated yet? You want to write and meditate? We sit and do that together. And everybody makes fun of us because we chat so much that we don't get anything done. But it's the great joy of my life to get free with him and to, just have that reflection with him that if you could imagine being young and being able to get free of your self-centered fear. And he inherited the full package of like human fear. And I remember the day it showed up, we were in a dressing room, and he all of a sudden didn't like how he looked. He was 10 or something. And all of a sudden I saw it come upon him, that evil spirit of like self-hatred. I saw it happen, and there was nothing I could do, but I've watched him now just completely like release that and feel good about himself again. It's so great. But now it's time for me to step back. And if I step back and I don't push, he will ask for my opinion about stuff sometimes. And then my job is not to just be all like, oh, you want my opinion? Because as crappy childhood fairy, people write me letters, and I answer people all the time. They ask for my opinion, and it's my delight to help people like that when they ask.
Exactly, when they ask.
When
When
they
they
ask.
ask.